Childhood and infancy is a time of innocence and security, but the horrific reality underreported by the media is that in more than 70% of sexually abused children, the abuser is known to them. A beloved uncle, a trusted servant, a favorite teacher, a sports coach, an older cousin, it can be anyone, any child, anywhere. We cannot remain silent or secretive about children who are sexually abused. The most vulnerable are the young infants and the children who are physically and mentally challenged.
India is home to 19% of the world's children, more than 50% of whom face some form of child sexual abuse. But most don't get reported due to family honor, economic dependence, etc. Preteen boys are very vulnerable, especially in the milieu of misplaced ideas of masculinity. India has the world's largest number of child sexual abuse cases. It affects children from all walks of life.
It would not be an exaggeration to say that this is an epidemic of mammoth proportion. We need to listen to the children, accept that the problem is there, heed the warning signs, and have safety plans in place, and then be empowered enough to take action if need be. We should not remain silent about things that matter. It's a question of a child's life, his whole life and his happiness. This is also linked to child marriage and child trafficking, but that is a totally different subject which we cannot touch here. We need to have personal safety education as a part of school curriculum so that the teachers and the children are both aware how to deal with this subject. No child should be made to feel helpless and that he cannot do or she cannot do anything about it. That's a very sad situation.
To view child abuse images is also illegal. When abusers are adults, we need to distinguish between normal sexual exploration and sexually abusive behavior. Parents, caregivers, and young people need to know this difference and get advice and help if needed.
क्या हुआ खुशी? खुशी छोड़ो मेरा हाथ, मुझे पढ़ना है। खुशी, खुशी तुम रो क्यों रही हो खुशी? क्या हुआ खुशी? बताओ खुशी, मम्मी ने मारा? पापा ने मारा? तो ऐसे क्यों रो रहे हो खुशी? बताओ, कुछ और बात है? क्या बात है? बताओ खुशी। बाहर जाके बताना है? चलो। क्या हुआ खुशी? तू मुझे अंदर से बाहर क्यों लेके आई? खुशी बता ना, क्या हुआ? वो शरीफ भाईजान रोज मेरे साथ गलत काम करते हैं। क्या गलत काम करते हैं खुशी, बता।
खबरदार, जो अंदर आए हम पर ही सबका बस चलता, जो चाहे वह डांट बताए।
खुशी, खुशी देख, तेरे में चॉकलेट लेके आया हूँ। क्या हुआ? मुझे पता है तू चॉकलेट नहीं खाती, तू आइसक्रीम खाती है। ले पैसे ले, तू मेरे लिए भी लेके आई हो। अरे पकड़ ना, पकड़। अबे बाल तो संभाल के रखा कर अपने, फिर बाल खराब कर रही है।
मैं बड़ी अम्मी से बोल दूंगी।
पागल है क्या? पता है कि मैं बड़ी अम्मी से क्या क्या कहूँगा? मैं बोलूँगा ये तो ऊपर खेलती है, वो भी बड़े बड़े बच्चों के साथ। और तुझे पता है बड़ी अम्मी तो मेरी बात ही मानती है ना। नाना आवाज़ मत करियो, ये तो तुझे पता नहीं बड़ी अम्मी तेरे साथ क्या क्या करेगी। याद रखियो, अगर तूने किसी को ही बताया ना तो तेरे साथ अच्छा नहीं होगा। मैं तेरी छुट्टी कर दूंगा, ठीक है ना?
खुशी, तुमने अपनी मम्मी को नहीं बताया?
कैसे बताती? मैंने बोला कि मैं बड़ी अम्मी से कहूंगी, लेकिन कहने लगे कि तुम बोलोगी तो मैं कह दूंगा कि तुम छत पे कैसे खेलती हो। और कहने लगी कि बड़ी अम्मी मुझसे ज्यादा प्यार करती, वो तुम्हारी नहीं सुनेंगी, वो मेरी सुनेंगी।
खुशी, हमको मैम को बताना होगा। और तुमने इतनी बड़ी बात कैसे छुपा के रखी खुशी?
नहीं, मैम को मत बोलना, मैम मुझे डांटेंगी।
नहीं खुशी, नहीं डांटेंगी। अगर हम मैम को बताएंगे तो मैम तुम्हारी मम्मी को बताएंगी। चलो खुशी।
क्या हुआ बेटा? बोलो बोलो, क्या हुआ बेटा? अरे बेटा रो क्यों रही हो? बोलो।
क्या बोलूं मैं? मेरी बेटी के साथ मैम बहुत गलत हुआ है। मेरी बेटी के साथ
किसने किया है?
किसी मासी के चाचा के लड़के ने।
अरे ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है?
अरे उसे मैंने अपने बच्चे की तरह पाला था इस दिन के लिए कि वो आज मेरी बेटी के साथ ऐसा करे।
आप घर में नहीं रहते हो?
घर पे ही रहती हूँ। मेरी छोटी सी बच्ची, मुझे बिल्कुल अंदाजा नहीं था घर की चार दीवारी में खेलते खेलते इसको इतनी दरिद्री का सामना करना पड़ेगा।
इतने दिन से बच्ची ने बताया भी नहीं तुम्हारे?
तूने मुझे कभी बताया क्यों नहीं?
मम्मी मैं डर गई थी।
अरे डरने की क्या बात है, मम्मा घर में रहती है तब भी।
An abused child can be recognized by his or her physical and behavioral indicators. They could be having sleeping difficulties, nightmares, or withdraw from people and places, act in a sexually inappropriate manner, have angry outbursts, bedwetting, appetite loss, bruises, soreness, or itching around private parts. Bruises might heal, but the anguish could last forever. Such children often find it difficult to form trusting relations in life. Psychological impacts range from post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, low self-esteem, anxiety and panic disorders, substance abuse, etc. Behaviorally, their social skills and academic performances deteriorate. A disturbing aspect of child sex abuse is that most abusers have developed a skill of building trust with the child, or parents and caregivers. They may abuse their own children or within the extended family or children of friends or neighbors. They are ordinary, have charm, and are not easy to spot, but their behavior can be. Not only adults, but even older children abuse younger kids.
Abuse happens in isolation. Recovery does not. Her mother is still scared to leave her alone anywhere. The abuser has been removed from home. Khushi is lucky to have a support system at hand, and she soon gets busy with a lot of creative activities. Her grandmother says her grandson in question would not do such a thing.
How does one recognize an abuser? Through grooming, that is, they are child friendly. Then they try to isolate the victim. They use flattery, gifts, and threats to achieve control and make sure the child will not inform anyone. Often abusers are not violent. They are gentle, subtle, and dirty. While the grooming process takes time, an observant adult can notice the telltale signs such as insisting on physical affection, wanting time alone with the child, and relying on secrecy.
अमन भैया खेलो ना। दीदी भैया खेल क्यों नहीं रहे हैं?
अमन 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 क्या हुआ तुझे? अरे क्या हो गया? अरे वो खेलने के लिए बुला रही है। अरे देखो अरे मुझे नहीं लगती। अच्छा सुन मेरी बात तो सुन। अच्छा इधर आ सुन मेरी बात इधर आ। क्या हुआ तेरे को बता मेरे को क्या हुआ?
मेरा कब छुटकारा पड़ेगा इनसे? अरे अभिषेक, अरे आजकल बड़ा चिकना घूम रहा है। सर, अरे इधर तो आजा सर, सर छोड़ दो सर। अरे मुरली, अरे कोई तो बचा लो। अरे यार क्या हुआ तेरे को बता इधर क्या हुआ तेरे को? बताओ समझो उसके साथ जरूर कुछ ना कुछ हुआ है, वो बता नहीं पा रहा है।
और आप इसको सबसे पहले डॉक्टर के पास लेकर जाइए। उसके बाद आप हमारी संस्था में आइए, हम इसकी काउंसलिंग करेंगे और आपको उस अमृतसर के खिलाफ रिपोर्ट लिखवाने में मदद करेंगे।
भाई साहब, भाई अब आप भी मेरी कुछ मदद कर सकते हैं।
Some examples of child sex offenders are those who meet them in their official capacity as a driver, servant, teacher, sports coach. they get ample opportunity to offend. While Aman is being counseled and is trying to get back to his routine, the teacher has been arrested by the police. The case is going on.
Caregivers need to have a family safety plan in place. It primarily involves talking and listening to kids. They have to be taught to say no to unwanted physical advances. These safety rules can be easily explained via the acronym SMART. S stands for not keeping secrets from trusted caregivers. M stands for mates with whom the child plays. A stands for always tell your parents where you go, with whom, and when you will be back. R stands for respect the body and to remember that it's private. No one has the right to touch their private parts. T is for telling about who makes you feel uncomfortable or frightened. It is not easy to talk about child sexual abuse, but it's the first step to preventing it. Children should also know about the toll-free child helpline.
Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012 has been brought about by the legislature to take care of any type of abuse against minor, both male and female. And a large area of sexual harassment of various types has been incorporated in this act, and a lot of safeguards against any child abuse, both male and female, is taken care.
The Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act makes all sexual acts towards children gender neutral, which was not specified in the IPC, wherein there was rape, which was earlier at the time when the act came out only towards girls, and there was section 377, which was gender neutral, but the differentiation between a child and an adult was not created. Another important thing in the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act is that it basically classifies offences into three main different categories. The first one is penetrative sexual assault. The other one is non-penetrative sexual assault, which basically means that you don't necessarily have to have penetration of the penis or any other object, but it could be any kind of contact with the private parts of a child's body. And the third kind, which is also recognized and is a big form of harassment against children, which is sexual harassment of any kind, which involves, for instance, showing a child pornography, or exposing your own private parts to the child, or asking the child to expose his private parts, stalking a child, which may not involve any kind of actual physical contact, but is definitely a sexual offense against children. Now, there is another category that is created in all of these categories, which is aggravated sexual offenses, where if anyone in the position of trust, which is any relative of a person, whether through adoption or guardianship or bloodline, someone that a child stays with, or the police, or administration of a hospital or school, all of these and amongst many other categories are people who would be said to have committed aggravated sexual assault, penetrative or otherwise, and the punishment for such offences is 10 years of rigorous imprisonment or higher, and for sexual harassment is 3 years or lesser, but including fine. So in all situations, if it's a known person to the child, then the punishment is more. Another thing that's important that this act brings into place is the fact that the police has to take into account child-friendly measures while recording statements. So the police should be in plain clothes and take the interview of the child or record the statement of the child wherever the child is comfortable.
Gender equality is important in addressing the challenges of child abuse and incest. With unequal power relations within patriarchy, men are socialized to view women and children as their property, to be exploited at will, and women are not empowered enough to adequately protect their children.
As a society, we need to be sensitized to the gravity of the problem. While 25% of the abuse speak out, only 3% get officially reported. Unless as a society we reach out to the 75% of the silently suffering abused children in their hour of need. Through education of sex and sexuality, informed vigilance and constant action, adults can make a real difference to the lives of children. Child sexual abuse is preventable and not inevitable. We can prevent child sexual abuse. It needs backing from every quarter.
we know we all can stand together. With the power to be